Hi, what's your name?
My name's David Beaumont. I'm a producer at the FPC.
Excellent. And I understand you're kind of expert about shooting in the UK. Can you tell me, if I were to fly in from another country, the United States, for example, I had a script, I had actors, I had cameras, what would I need to do to kind of stay out of trouble when filming?
Well, if you're going to film in London, then the answer is organise it all before you get on the plane. London, because it's the capital and because it's very busy and because it's where everybody wants to film, as far as the rest of the world's concerned, England is in London. London's very busy. There's a lot of filming happens in London. So the councils are all very clued up on it. The police know what's going on. It's a very dense population and they're used to filming. So you really do need to make sure your permission's in order. You've got the appropriate paperwork from the council. The police know where you're going to be. You paid for whatever you need to pay for. And that's a process that it can take 2, 3, 4, or even in some cases more weeks. So yeah, if you're jumping off the plane with your cast and crew and you're expecting to film in London, be light on your feet. Outside the M25, it's a little bit more relaxed, but yes, filming in London, it's a damn sight easier if you prepare in advance rather than just showing up and hoping for the best.
Outside of the M25, that means outside of London, right?
Yeah, the M25 is the ring road that goes around London. It's the freeway that circles the city.
Right.
So yeah, 120-mile circle around London. There's a kind of invisible border there. The outside is England and inside is London, foreign country.
So if you went to...
if you're in Birmingham or Manchester or Leeds or Liverpool or Bristol or Cardiff or Glasgow or anywhere in between, then you have a much more flexibility because there's less filming happens per square mile, so they're simply less used to having to be ready for it. Yeah, if you want to start blocking off streets or doing stuff in public, you need to at least have a word with the council and then let them know you're doing it. It's also wise to call the police and say, look, we're going to be filming next Saturday, so if somebody rings up and says something's going on, it's us. That could be particularly handy if you're doing violence or guns or whatever, the kind of things that people ring up and report as a crime. Although I've had that. Now I'm not going to tell you about the perfect murder, but I know how to commit perfect murder. Well, what you do is you film it first, and somebody will ring the police, and the police will come round and you say, oh, we're making a film, watch, and the police will sit there and watch you for 10 minutes and steal a biscuit and then disappear. And then as soon as they've gone, you bring out your real person and viciously murder them, and people will call the police, and the police say, no, it's all right, they're making a film, we've already been. But yeah, as long as they know that they are there, they're generally fairly relaxed about it. Everywhere else in the UK, you can shoot what you need to shoot, as long as you can show that you're paying a little bit of attention to the well-being of the general public.
Got it.
You're fine. And strictly speaking, according to the law, if you're not putting a tripod down, if you're not actually standing anything on the pavement, you don't need any permission from anybody to do anything. So if you are going real guerrilla style and you're hand-holding everything and no lights, then basically you can do what you like because you're just a bunch of tourists shooting a whole movie.
I understand that there's special rules for filming on the bridges of the Thames.
Yeah, well, I mean, any public highway, any public area in London in particular, you should really get council permission before you start filming that, blocking off pavements, that kind of stuff. I mean, here, we're filming here on the South Bank, which is actually a private property, so we don't have to deal with the council, we just have to deal with the South Bank Management Authority, give them the appropriate amount of money, and they'll let us rub off what we need to rub off. But yeah, if you're filming on bridges, if you're filming on roads, if you're going to cause any kind of obstruction, then you need to clear it first, because otherwise somebody will find out, somebody will come down, and somebody will ask you to move. I mean, if you're shooting the second unit stuff, if you just want to get some GVs for the city or shots of your characters walking up and down the street, then guerrilla it, go out, shoot it, put your sticks down, film it. 20 minutes later, you're not there anymore, so it's no big deal. But yeah, if you're going to be somewhere all day, I mean, it's kind of common sense. It doesn't cost you anything necessarily. It's just about good planning. It's like everything else. If you're ready for it and you've prepared the place, if you prepared your location for it, it's going to be good. And if you're taking chances, then you're taking chances.
How much do permits cost in general? I don't expect you to be encyclopedic.
It varies very much depending on what you want and where you want it. But in most cases, certainly outside London, most things won't actually cost you anything. If you do want to start shutting down streets, that's a little bit different. But permission to film somewhere, it really is just about permission rather than paying an appropriate fee. Some places are a little bit different. And yeah, London, you're more likely to hit costs. But yeah, basically, it's not going to cost you anything. You just let the council know and ask them nicely, and that's fine.
Right. And I understand that if someone didn't want to take care of these details, you know somebody who could help them out.
Yeah, well, I mean, the generic answer is a decent production manager. There are plenty of them around. I mean, the UK has got a lot of, I mean, it's always been famous for crew and facilities rather than studios and money. But at a low budget level, it's the same thing. There are lots and lots of people around, production managers, producers who can deal with this kind of stuff. Or you get a local location manager, get a local production manager, and get them involved in taking care of it because they're here on the ground. For the company that I work for, the film production company, offer services to help if you're making a feature film for the first time and you know about being on set, you know about pointing a camera and running a script, but doing all the organising, getting a location manager, doing the budgeting and all that kind of stuff. We can provide those kind of services. But yeah, if you're coming in from the US and you want to shoot something here, do yourself a favour and six weeks out, get a production manager over here and make sure that 3 or 4 weeks out they're making the appropriate phone calls, and life will run a whole lot smoother for someone's little extra effort.
Excellent. What's your name again?
My name's David Beaumont.
Thank you very much, David.
No problem, thank you.